Hello once again, and welcome to Mid-Missouri Art News, coming to you from the capital city of Missouri, Jefferson City. I'm your host, Rick J., today on Mid-Missouri Art News, and I've got two special guests with me today. Rene Hackman, with two N's, featured artist on the Jefferson City Art Club website from Jefferson City. And I'm really crazy about having Tracy Eichorn here of Mid-Missouri Arts Alliance out of Ashland, Missouri, just up the road a piece on 54. I want to welcome you to the show, and I hope you stay with us. We've got a lot of interesting things to talk about in the world of art today. So I'd like to turn now, on behalf of the Jefferson City Art Club and JCTV, Mid-Missouri Art News, I'd like to first welcome artist and spokesperson for the Jefferson City Art Club, Rene Hackman. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we'd like to start off with you, so people adapt like you're human, just like me and other people, but we love art.
I hope
so. Yes. So we'd like to start off by asking if you'd tell us a little bit about you and those highlights of your life that really best describe Rene.
Well, I'm a freelance artist who loves to draw, paint, and teach. And I guess, you hear so many artists say, I've loved art for as long as I can remember.
Yes.
I'm no different there. Sometimes I think you're born an artist, you don't really become one. When I was a little girl, in Sunday school, I noticed that the other little kids, when they would draw figures and faces, the faces would basically have two eyes and a mouth, and the figures were a circle with sticks coming out of them for arms and legs. And as a very young age, probably 4, 5, 6 years old, I just noticed that people had necks and fingers and toes, and faces had eyelashes and eyebrows and ears and nose, and there were expressions. So at a very young age, I think I recognized that there are more detail, and those details make, personality.
Yes. So the artist in your blood, in your genes possibly, was actually surfacing at a young age.
Very young.
So that's very interesting. I hear different ones being inspired different.
Probably from that time on, I had a pencil in my hand from time to time, and always studying people and trying to get detail and character in the people. By high school, I was doing caricatures of friends, and then it kind of spilled over into teachers, and I may or may not have been a little distracted from time to time.
Yes.
so sometimes I would sell the caricatures, which were kind of my earliest commissions to my fellow students, but
Sure.
The teachers, if they liked it, they always got theirs for free because
Well, sure.
just to keep them happy.
Maybe a few extra points there.
Well, you hope, yeah.
Well, you hope. So you learned that at a young age too. Yes. Great. Well, your family, would you like to talk a little bit about your family? Your location, values, education, anything that might people would identify with you from your own personal experiences here. A little bit about Rene, if you can.
Sure. I have 3 kids that put up with me, and my mom and dad have always encouraged me to push on into my art. My kids always have been supportive, whatever I can do, Mom, friends. It's just one of those things, I guess, you're only as good as the support you get. And a lot of times in the art world, it's not always peaches and cream. Sometimes you get kicked around a little bit, you feel like, when there's competition, and you just have to always know, and then you have these people in the background telling you that, no, you're good. It was just your piece didn't fit into that show.
Yes. I I understand that.
So it's good to have that support and understanding. So that's about my family.
Well,
and
family, you said you had 3 children. You want to say hi to those children.
Well, hi, kids.
Kids, Joe, Jane.
Well, Joe is one of them.
Oh, that's a pretty good. That
Joe,
ESP's working again.
Joe, Dave, and Kayla.
Joe, Dave, and Kayla. Well, greetings, Joe,
Yeah,
Dave,
and I have 2 grandchildren too, and they're
super.
little guys. So Noah and Della.
Noah
Say
and
hi to
Della.
them
Oh,
too.
Super. That is great. Family is a basis for everyone, I guess.
It's the
you could say.
cornerstone for sure.
Well, you've mentioned a little bit your first inspiration to become an artist and what has inspired you to continue with your interest in art. I guess we'd go ahead and ask you, what are your favorite mediums to work with? As an artist, we all want to know what you like.
My favorite mediums are oil and, well, I started in acrylic. I started painting in acrylic. So that was my first medium in paint, but I kind of toggle back and forth between graphite drawings because I've always drawn, and then in my early years, probably in high school and then later, started playing with acrylic a little bit, and then I was introduced to oil, and oil is like painting with butter, and so I fell in love with it. And
I call that I love oil also, and I call it the magic of oil. And if you've never painted in oil, you must try it. The blending, and once you blend it, or you just a feather and some air, as they say, things will come together so uniquely that just really shocks you. So I can identify with you.
Sure, there are so many things you can do with oil.
Yes.
And in my oil paintings, I do 2 different types of oil paintings. I paint studio paintings inside in the studio. And then I'm one of those rare, strange people that have decided it is cool to paint outside.
Plein air painting.
Plein air painting,
Yes.
and it's really up and coming. And it's not for everyone, but I just love it.
Excellent. And we can see by your art pieces that you've shared with us as we're speaking that of some of those subject matter. What is your favorite subject matter? Are you into animals, landscape, portraits?
I love garden scenes. I love hummingbirds. I've done a lot of hummingbirds. As a matter of fact, I'd like to maybe do a series of hummingbirds. Maybe I have a series of hummingbirds.
Excellent.
The range, it varies, but I also love the landscapes, because, and that is plein air. But I love to feel the atmosphere, and I know it gets blazing hot, and sometimes you're sitting with the chiggers and the ticks, and then it starts raining, and you're always chasing light. But the challenge in it and the just rawness of it, and then when you produce something that feels like what you've experienced.
Yes.
That is.
So it's more of an experience.
Oh, yeah.
Not more than an experience, but it's a combination, it sounds like, of not only the desire and the wanting to get out there in the open. And so the experience, I see, would be really rewarding also.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any projects now in process or at a venue where our viewers could take part, go take a peek?
Yeah, let's see. I have, one of the projects I was talking about was the hummingbird series. I would really like to do that, and I had an idea that I would like to paint on 8x10 Baltic birch panels that have been gessoed.
Oh, I see.
And I want to do a series all the way through the alphabet. That's why I want to name them Hurricane Hummingbirds, because the first one is Amelia, the second one will be Benjamin,
I see.
the third one will be Caroline, and so forth. So I'd like to get that going, and then I've already sold Amelia, so I'm hoping that they just, as soon as they're hot off the easel, they go. But people really seem to identify with them.
Oh, super. And I know I'll be enjoying looking at it here with the presentation, the show. Well, Rebecca, anything else with as far as your art, your venues where they're showing? Are you showing at any place locally?
I'm showing it at Capitol Arts in Jefferson City. I have note cards and prints all the time.
Oh,
and then I also, bring artwork for different venues and exhibitions that they have there. I do the best I can to try to keep that going.
So you utilize the venue of Capitol
Absolutely.
Arts, and which is a great venue. I was impressed 8 years ago when I first came back from Arizona and got involved with some art there. One of my first show in Missouri actually was at Capitol Arts here in Jefferson City. And they have such a really great venue, and everything is done so professionally. So anytime we talk about Capitol Arts, you should take a time out and go see what's happening.
Right here in our city.
We talk about their shows constantly here on the program. Mm-hmm. Great.
And then 2 places that are embracing the eclipse that is coming.
Oh, yes.
And they have shows. Well, one of them is at Art House in Fulton, and yes. I'm going to be teaching a paint class, but it's not an ongoing serious class. It's a party class. So everybody paints the same scene. It's the eclipse. You bring beverages and your friends, and we'll play music and enjoy. And I always tell the people my opening is, you loved painting in kindergarten. And when the teacher said, we're going to paint, everyone said, yay! And then by middle school, if the teacher says, we're going to paint, everyone's, oh.
Oh, I see.
So what happens between...
The transition.
Yes, between kindergarten and middle school. So I'm taking everybody back to kindergarten, and we really have a great time.
Now you're back on Mid-Missouri Art News, and just yay! I saw that in your face earlier, yes.
And also, Art House is having a show called Light and Shadow Exhibit, and it runs from August 8th through September 23rd, and I'll have a piece for that. It's just not created yet.
Oh, super. Now the curator
it's in here.
for the Art House is in Fulton, and the curator is also an instructor at Williams Woods College.
Jane Mudd.
Jane Mudd.
Yeah.
I tried to get in touch with Jane Mudd to have her on the show, and just haven't been able to tie that up yet.
Yeah.
But that's great.
Okay. And then Columbia Art League also has an Eclipsed show. That's the name of it. And their opening reception was last Friday night. And it's so fun if you can ever make it to one of those openings, because they have wine and food and live music, and you can meet the artists, and it's just wonderful. And my piece was called Lady Lunar, the moon, and she's there, and that was done in graphite. And if anyone would like to see that image, it's on my Facebook page. And then let's see. I will have 2 pieces at the state fair. So I just entered that, and one of them is called Produce Manager of the Apple Orchard, and it's a bee in apple blossoms, and the idea is to remind us that how precious our bees are, how we need them, we need to protect them because they are the pollinators. So without them, we have no food.
Well, we're running close on time now. Rebecca, you're a current member of the Jefferson City Art Club, which will soon be active in their 114th year come September. I understand you'll be a featured artist on the JCAC website for a 6-week running period. Also, will be showing at the DMV on the east side of Jefferson City. So may I ask how the Jefferson City Art Club may have inspired you as an artist or a person?
Well, Jefferson City Art Club was pivotal in putting to my mind that I could possibly show my artwork. I was probably only 19 or 20 years old, and I kind of stumbled upon the adult art exhibit with some friends. and they were telling them, oh, she's an artist too. She paints and draws. And of course, I was a little embarrassed. And so some of the members said, oh, you should bring a piece next year. So I did, and I enjoyed it so much. It's so wonderful seeing, fresh new art come in and be able to talk to people who have you have a camaraderie with. And it was exciting. So I did it for many years. And then when Ann DeRozier was the president, she took me aside and said, you should join Jefferson City Art Club.
Yes.
And so I did. And I've been there ever since. I love what they do for the community, for the kids, for the artists. It gives us, a place to talk to each other and communicate.
Right. Ann is also on the committee, Publicity Promotions Committee. She fills in as an alternate when needed. Yes, the Jefferson City Art Club meets the third Monday of each month, and they meet through the months of September and May. Everyone gathers about 5:15. At 5:30 we have snacks, and about 6 o'clock we have a presenter every month for those months. And so we invite you to come on out off of Ellis Boulevard. They're next to the church, next to the YMCA. That's a great time, meeting a lot of artists and rubbing elbows with them. Also at this moment, there's 20 pieces being represented by the Jefferson City Art Club on display at the Runge Conservative Nature Center off of Highway 79 in Jefferson City, Missouri. That show will be featured July 1st through August 31st. Rene, I want to thank you personally for sharing your interests here on Mid-Missouri Art News, JCTV, and being my guest today, bringing the art communities and the surrounding areas together. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Tracy Eichorn from Ashland, Missouri, and the Mid-Missouri Arts Alliance. So stay with us. That's going to be interesting to find out what's going up north on 54 Highway. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Mid-Missouri Art News here on JCTV. And as I promised, I'm turning now to introduce you to a special guest, artist Tracy Eichorn, making their home at Harrisburg, Missouri, and who is here to share a bit of her life and as an artist, and definitely a spokesperson today for the Mid-Missouri Arts Alliance out of Ashland, Missouri. So I want to turn, and Tracy, please, on behalf of the Jefferson City Art Club, welcome to JCTV Mid-Missouri Art News.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Super, great. We're pleased to have you. Can you tell us again about the highlights of your life that best describe Tracy Eichorn, so people can learn a little bit about you and
Okay.
your
Well,
family.
as Rene was saying earlier in the earlier shot, that you're probably born an artist, and I think that's true. My dad was very talented, and he actually bought my very first drawing book when I was about, I think, 10 or 11. And it had like a palm tree in it and Raggedy Ann, all different types of things. It was all pencil drawing, and that was when I kind of really got interested in art. But then life got in the way, as it tends to, and grow up and have to get a job and pay the bills and things like that, and really didn't get back into art until about 10 years ago. I got the opportunity to join the Columbia Art League as a member and started taking classes there, and piqued my interest again in doing art, on a regular basis rather than just drawing figures for the kids and stuff like that.
Right. Oh, super. It sounds like Father waited till you was 10, hoping that the art gene would kick in. Then he finally bought you a book, and boom, huh?
Yeah, pretty
I can
much.
see where that happens.
Yeah.
Parents are patient sometimes. Is he going to be a football player? Maybe someday. Maybe I should get him a football. That works both ways.
Exactly.
Well, super. Now, would you like to say any shout outs to the family?
Oh, sure. My life partner, Rick, he and I have a place out in Hartsburg, and we have 3 dogs. I have a daughter, Jessica, and she lives in St. Louis with her family. Chris, my son-in-law, and then my 2 grandsons, Ethan and Gavin, who are just the light of my life. Grandkids are the best thing ever invented.
Yes, I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
And the dogs play a big special part. I have one, and it plays a big part in my life, so I can identify with. That's kind of like children at 2,
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, you are the spokesperson today for the Mid-Missouri Arts Alliance of Ashland, Missouri. Can you share with us what you would like to about the Mid-Missouri Arts Alliance, their mission statement, upcoming events, any venues where your personal or certain artists that you're featuring you would like to speak about?
Oh, sure. I would love to. The Mid-Missouri Arts Alliance has been an incredible journey. We, as a group, had started meeting about 6 years ago. Just artists, let's go out and do some art, kind of support each other, that type of thing. And then in 2015, we decided we needed to get serious. So we got incorporated, we got our nonprofit status, and then we were going to use 2016 to raise money so we could find a home. Because at this point, we're just in every restaurant, people's houses, at the park, all over the place. Super. So a place came open in Ashland next door to the pharmacy, and we talked to the owner, and she gave us a great deal on the rent, and so we moved in a year earlier than we thought was possible.
Oh, wow.
And so we've been in our storefront for a year and a couple months now. We have art shows going on. We've got one art show coming up in July, or actually this is July, our summer art show. It's called Natural Phenomena, and it's kind of a nod at the eclipse that's coming up in August. So we'll be taking artwork this weekend, and then the show will start on the 14th with our open reception. At the Art Center, we also have summer camp for kids. That starts the 10th of July. Grades 1 through 12, younger kids in the morning, older kids in the afternoon. They will get to display their artwork at the art show as well on the 14th.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We had a really good turnout last year, and it looks like this year we're going to have a pretty good turnout for that art camp as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Super. So turn out if you're listening, you're watching, get the children out there and
absolutely
turn out.
Yeah,
that sounds like a lot of fun.
They enjoy it.
Inspiration for our young people finding that art inside their genealogy, or not their genes.
Right. Megan Cooper, who is she's an elementary school art teacher, but she also has her MFA. She is our teacher for our art camp and for our after-school program for children. We do that during the school year. Every Monday from 3:45 to 4:45 is after-school classes for children. So she teaches all of that for us. Then we also do, which is really a lot of fun, we do Sunday Fun Days. The first Sunday of every month from 1 to 4 p.m. we do something. It could be a directed painting where everybody comes in and paints the same thing.
Yes.
We've done clay monsters, we've done painted seashells, blinged out flamingos, weavings, just all kinds of different things. And it's just a fun afternoon. You don't have to be talented or think you're talented to come in and do that. We could try to keep it so that everybody can come in and have a good time.
And the instructor will pull out things you never even knew you existed within your art talents. So that's good
exactly,
to have
exactly. So we do that, and then also upcoming, we have a workshop with Lorraine McFarland. She is a Mid-Missouri pastel artist, and she's award-winning, and she's going to come do a pastel workshop July 22nd. It's an all-day workshop, and it's going to be on pet portraits.
Oh, super.
Yeah, so you could bring a picture of your dog or your cat or whatever kind of pet you have, and then she'll walk you through on how best to do that in pastels. What else do we have coming up? Oh, August 13th. This is a fun one. This is called Through the Eyes of a Poet. And Walter Bargen, who is the first Missouri Poet Laureate, is going to come and read out of his works, out of his books. And while he's reading, artists are invited to come in and paint and draw and do whatever and be inspired by Walter's readings and stuff like that. So that's going to be an afternoon of poetry and art and fun, friendship, that type of thing.
Oh, super good. And nice gathering, it sounds like.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be a lot of fun.
Now, you all surely have a website. You'd like to probably give that, and a telephone number.
Absolutely.
So you can call in or register and find out more.
Yeah.
And Tracy was recently on the Paul Pepper Show, which we're all familiar with since was this knee-eye to a grasshopper. And so Paul spoke highly of Tracy in the interview when I visited with him recently. So you can also view that on YouTube. So your website
is midmissouriartsalliance.com. It's just all one word. It's kind of long, but we wanted to keep it true to our name, midmissouriartsalliance.com. Our address is 115 East Broadway in Ashland. We're right on the main strip next door to the pharmacy. And our telephone number is 573-657-0711. And then we have an email too. It's midmoarts@midmissouriartsalliance.com.
And that phone number again was
573-657-0711.
Okay, great, super. Well, that's great. We've got that covered. Now, see, do you have an email address at all you'd like to share with them also?
Yes, that's the MidMoArts. At midmissouriartsalliance.com. That's the email address.
Okay.
You can, and there's contact buttons all over the website as well that you can just click on that and send us a message and we'll get right back to you. We have memberships available. That's what kind of helps keeps us going is the memberships and the art classes. Since we are a nonprofit, we are looking for people to come join us. We have a sales gallery for our artists as well.
Super.
They can come in, they can sell their work. We have it on display year round. And then we also, and we're all volunteers. Nobody gets paid to do any of this
and
stuff.
And you're probably 501c3.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So any donations are tax deductible.
What are the hours for the
Right now, we're open Wednesday nights from 6:30 to 9, and then Fridays from 12 to 7, and Saturdays from 10 to 3. And we hope to continue to expand those hours. As we get more volunteers, we'll be able to be open more and more. So that's the goal for this next year is to try and be open more for the public to come in.
Right. So keep in mind, Mid-Missouri Arts Alliance in Ashland, Missouri, if you're close, or you want to take a nice drive and be part of it. Now I'd like to, Tracy, I know you've got that artist in your DNA, so what's your favorite medium and maybe subject matter that you like to work with as an artist?
Well, I've got a couple of favorite mediums. Soft pastels is probably my all-time favorite because I can get real dirty because you use your hands a lot with soft pastels. And then oils. Oils is my next favorite. As far as subject matter, it's just whatever catches my eye. If I look at something and go, I can do that. I can draw that. Yes. That's what I'll do. As I'll sit down and do a painting. I've been getting more into abstract art, more so than representational or realistic. So the abstract has been catching my eye.
It always teases me. I've never done many abstracts, but I admire so many of the abstracts because you just let your mind wander through the abstract and make whatever you want to out of that. And I like a lot of artwork. It's what the beholder, the eye of the beholder, whatever, however it reaches you.
It's interesting how people interpret your work when you do abstract, because it'd be like something you didn't even think about. I'm going to be having work in the interpretation show at the Columbia Art League. That's have you heard of that? It's a very different show. So I've submitted one piece and I've got a writing back, and now I have to submit a second piece.
Excellent.
So
interpretation again opens the mind to not only painting, but the beholder, eye of the beholder, and how they're inspired. So that's a really neat theme for a show format.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I've done it for the last few years, and the first piece is always easy. The second piece is always hard because you have to interpret somebody's writing, and sometimes you just kick it around to the last minute.
Invite people up to the Columbia Art League at that venue and take a look and take a peek at your work. Do you have anything right now that people could take a look at, visit?
I do at the Mid-Missouri Arts Alliance. I do have work for sale there. Plus, we have studio space in there as well that we rent out to artists, and I have my studio space there. So you can. It's all open to the public. You're welcome to come in and watch the artists while they're working, or look at the work that's for sale and things like that. So yeah.
Great. I will make it a point to stop in Ashland and
take
a look. Wednesday, Friday, or
Saturday. Right.
Great. Well, Tracy, I want to thank you for contributing today to Mid-Missouri Art News and making it a learning and informational experience for me and our viewers. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
It's been really a pleasant experience for me, and sure thank you. Well, our next spotlight on the arts will be taped also today, and that'll feature Orr Street Studios with a couple of young ladies, Hannah Ingmeyer. Most of us in the art world have talked or visited with Hannah and saw her work, and also Ivy Case, who just returned the last couple of days from a trip to Africa. So we'll be taping that next, and it'll be aired soon after this program. Our next featured artist and guest here on Mid-Missouri Art News are the well-known artists Stephen Wilson of the Jefferson City Art Club. He'll also play spokesperson for the art club, and Linda Hoover, who's a quilt artist, and also she does murals for buildings. We talked to her recently, but we'll get more in depth to her artwork. She's a member of the SVAA, the Sedalia Visual Arts Association. So please think about that and take a look at that. August 9th, the next featured artist here on Mid-Missouri will be featured. That's Stephen Wilson and Linda Hoover from Houstonia, Missouri. Thank you, JCTV producer Gloria Enlow, and thank you, our viewers, for watching. I sure appreciate it. For more Mid-Missouri art news right here on JCTV, and don't forget YouTube. See you next time.